Please, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Pakwisi Ochre. I'm an indigene of Abnasiedro, born in Abnasiedro to Mr. and Mrs. Ochre. Um, I attended Siedro Secondary School. Prior to that, I had my primary education also in Abnasiedro Methodist School. I relocated to England in the year 2000, where I also pursued further education in child and adolescent psychiatry. I have also done family therapy and also MSc in leadership and management. In terms of farming, being inspired by my grandmother who was a farmer. So the name Asabo Farms comes from my grandmother who is Nana Asabo. So she inspired me into farming at a younger age. Have love for animals generally, both domestic and farm animals. And I think that's been my inspiration, just being connected to nature and working with animals. And it gives me a special feeling. Yeah.
So growing up, like your grandma gave you inspired by farming. Do you start some before you travel to abroad?
Yeah. At different stages in my life, I've had pets.
Okay.
More of pets than farming. But when I was in secondary school, I did have a farm in my village.
Okay.
So my grandmother had like a pen. So I bought 3 sheep. I think I got a male and 2 female to start with. And that was my first attempt at farming, basically. It wasn't at a commercial. For me, it was more like pets to me.
Okay.
And so I remember the first time that my grandmother said they were going to sell one of my. I cried, losing them. For me, it was pets, but for her, it was more business. I didn't understand those concepts very well. I just had a good feeling having them. Yeah. So that was what I did then. And though losing them was a pain, it was also a joy to have that money. And that kind of inspired me to say that I'll probably go into farming in future. So that's the inspiration basically.
Okay. So what year do you decide to go to abroad?
I left Ghana in the year 2000. So I've been abroad for the past 24 years.
Okay. So what time do you decide to come to start farm?
That's interesting. So it was in 2019. I lost my dad, I think exactly 5 years ago. So I came down and during the preparation for the funeral, we went to get a pig to use as part of.
The funeral arrangement.
So I saw a guy, then I discussed with him whether he'd want to do partnership with me.
Okay.
So that was when it started. Unfortunately, after the funeral, there was a lockdown, if you remember COVID. Yeah. So for me, COVID has done a lot of positive things, even though people talk about COVID negatively.
Sure.
So I stayed in Ghana for 6 months. So during that 6 months period, I looked for this land where we are now.
Okay.
And I bought 5 plots. But then people get to know that, oh, I'm doing farming here, they sell part of the land to me. So now it's extended a bit bigger. I think where we are now, we have about 3 acres. And then we've got another 3 acres further down. And then we've also got 12 acres where we have the coconut plantation. So yeah, we started in 2019, very small. We just started with the pigs, and then we started with, I think, five. They were five in all. We've got four females and a male, and now we've expanded. Yeah.
So after coconut, after pig, what next?
So we started with the pig to start with, and then 2 years after we started with the poultry. I think 2,000 birds to start with, and then we increased it to about 5,000. Our aim was to get to about 10,000 by the end of this year. However, I think based on the fact that we are doing this on an experimental level, increasing it, and with the risks, we didn't think that maybe the time is yet for us to increase our stock. But yeah, we've also started experimenting a few other things. So we've done the catfish, we've done the rabbits, we've done a bit of turkey, mainly livestock. Last year, we were awarded the best livestock farmer in the Aguna East District.
Wow.
Yeah,
Congrats.
thank you.
Okay. So within the pandemic, is that fun? Do after pandemic, do you go outside like with getting somebody mind the place for you? Like how do you able to mind the two together?
Yeah, so I'm always around within every 3 months. So I try to come down every 3 months to oversee. But I've also got people who support when I'm not around. So I've got Philip who supports me in terms of its operations, and I've got Mike and Joe who kind of on the ground see to it that things are done here.
Do you have challenge with the workers?
I wouldn't say a challenge with the workers as such, but you know, when you are starting something, you have your own vision, and you need to get people to buy into your vision. And I think there is a certain perception that you are doing your thing. So you need people who understand your vision and who will be able to carry through your vision even if you are not there. And I think that is the challenge, because I know what I want, but whether or not people also understand that vision and living the vision is another thing. So the challenge is that I would want to put certain standards, but then if people don't understand why those standards needs to be there in the first place, for instance, biosecurity, you'd want to ensure that people don't transfer diseases to the farm, for instance. And so certain practices needs to be followed. To them, it's not very important. And so they don't strictly go by that. So I wouldn't say it's an attitude thing. It's more of their view of the world. It's not the same as you view it. And I think generally also when you are abroad, people have the perception that you have the money. And so once you spend, they don't really understand. They need to understand the investment aspect of spending. So when you are putting money into something, you are putting into it because you want to get something back. But they think that you have the money, so you need to spend. And so that could also be a challenge, that understanding. For me, it's not the fact that they don't want you to do well, but it's their understanding, the perception that, oh, he's got the money, he will do it. That kind of thing. Rather than thinking that this is investment, we need to have a return of the investment.
So working in Ghana with people, do you feel like it's safe for you?
I think if you get the right people, yes. I've got good staff, hardworking. I think we need to work on some attitudes. And once we get that right, I think we will do well. I believe we will do well. But I wouldn't say that it's all bad. There are positives and there are things that we need to improve on. And that's what I'm working on them for. I think the challenge is the fact that if you want to put in this level of investment, you need to be around. And that's the only way you'll get your vision understood and you get people to do what you want to achieve. But if you are an absentee CEO or manager, I think that you wouldn't get the expected results.
So somebody was watching, you want to start farm in Ghana. So if you are picking a worker like this year because of your experience, what thing that you look for before you select your
Okay.
workers? Yeah.
I think that sometimes we underestimate the importance of training. So, first, what you want to do is to get somebody who is committed and ready to learn. Once you get that person, you need to spend time to train them for them to understand your vision, for them to understand what they are going to do, and then making sure they are doing it right. That is very important because if you get someone just in and you are using them as a source of labor, you will get it wrong. So one of the key lessons that I've picked up is about training. So I'll ensure that when someone is coming in, they understand my vision. They understand what I'm trying to do. They understand the principles that I want to follow. And I train them to do it. And if I do that, I think I wouldn't face the challenges I had in the first 2 years.
Okay, so do you believe that the person to send the money for somebody to start the farm or the person to come to start everything first?
I think it depends on the system you've got on the ground. So if you've got trusted people, and trusted people can be family members, trusted people can be people that have the experience to do it. People have shared a lot of their experiences with me. People have come to look at my farm, they've asked a lot of questions. But I think that it depends on who you get. If you have someone who is loyal to you and someone who is committed and want to carry out your vision, then it will go well, irrespective of whether they are family member or not. I think the challenges people have shared with me when they have come to talk to me is that it's not worked well with them with family members or close associates. And I don't think that if you are starting a business, it's good to do it that way. Look for someone with expertise or some level of experience in the field that you want to operate. So let's say if you want to start with piggery, you'd want to look out for someone who's done it before. If the person hasn't done it before, you want to train them to be able to do it. Otherwise, you are going to face some challenges along the line. So, the first of all, I think you need to look for someone with experience and someone who is willing to learn. If possible, once you've got your structure, get the person to go for some training. There are a lot of training available. I'm not going to point to one particular place where you get the training, but if you search for it, you will find them.
But do you train people?
We haven't started yet because I'm not available, but I think that is going to be our vision, that we want to support the youth in the area.
Okay.
And so that is going to be our next target.
Okay. So like it is like I don't know your experience, but is it like in quote the Ghanaians think anyone that's in a boy have money?
That's pretty much so. I think that's the perception out there that you have the money. So they don't see it as you having an investment. They see it as you have the money, you have something to spend, so let's support you to spend it. Um, it's hard to say, but That's the fact. So would they think about how do we make savings by preventing a disease, for instance? They don't think about that. That if you prevent a disease, you have made savings to the company. But they would walk in, they would not think about the effects that allowing people to come through would bring to the farm for you to spend on buying vaccines and all of that. That's not their thinking. So I think it's an attitude thing. And maybe that is also another challenge, yeah, as a farmer.
Okay. So like, if somebody want to start farming, the person is not in Ghana, you want to start farm. What advice that you give the person?
So first of all, you need to find the money because I think people have the perception that um, have a very beautiful structure, but that is not what will bring you the money. So thinking about the structure, think about minimizing your costs in putting up the structure because the structure is not bringing you the money. Then invest in good quality breeds. So for me, I think if you can see, we had to use coconut trees. So we went bought the coconut trees, cut them into pieces to use it for the structure.
Okay.
So that saves us a lot of money. Otherwise, if we were to go and buy the logs from sawmills, you would spend a lot of money. So that is in itself some form of cost cutting. So think about the cost. Think about the money you are going to put in. Invest a lot more in quality breeds, and then a little more on the structure. You can start small and then expand. So if you've got your land, maybe start with maybe a small structure, and then when the money comes, you expand. The thing with piggery is that um, it takes some time for you to see the returns. So from the learning from my experience, I would suggest that maybe you get, let's say, 2 females to start with.
Now when we go to the,
Yeah.
we learn.
Yeah, so it's about the advice in terms of what they can do. If you get 2 females, don't buy a male. Get them to cross the females for you. So you would have less time and less money being spent.
Okay.
And within a short period of time, you'd have, if you get a good breed, you can get a minimum of 6 piglets.
Okay.
Minimum. It can go up to 16.
Okay.
Yeah?
So that times 2.
Yeah. So you within a short period of time. No, I've had a pig that's delivered about 16
Wow.
at a go. Yeah, and you could have a minimum that I've had is about 6.
Okay.
So if you think about between 6 and 16, you'll not get all 16 at a time, but it depends on the mother. Yeah. So
Okay, so the youth and they are confused because somebody will say like it can make it only abroad.
no, you can make it here. I think there are a lot of resources here we don't take notice of them. There are a lot of opportunities here in Ghana. Otherwise, if it is just about being abroad, I wouldn't even come here. So if let's say you get even one to start with the pigs, if you even start with one, if you are you and you come to me, I'll cross it for you for free.
Wow.
And because I'll see the joy in you doing well in the long run. So any you that comes to me wants to get, I would cross it for you because I want to support you to do well. And so I think there was a guy who started in the Rampong. He came here. We had to cross it for them. Now he's doing very well. Michael, do you remember? Yeah. So we've had experiences like that. For people who have come, we give them the advice. We say, okay, this is what it is. This is what we have experienced, but this is what you can do to make it work. So we are not allowing you to repeat our mistakes. We want to cut the mistakes down for you. So we teach you where we failed and you take the learning from there. So I will encourage the youth. I think farming is good. If it's your thing, please don't think that you have to get a white collar job. It's not available. Even people who have had professional training are not being placed. And these are things that you can easily do. You can go into piggery, you can start poultry in your own backyard, you can start catfish in your own background. There are a lot of things that you can do, and you don't need big investments to do in farming. Even what do you call it? Snails. We've started snail farming as well. So these are things that you don't need big investment to start, but the returns are good.
Okay, thank you for this part. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe the channel, like the video, share and subscribe. So watch this video for our next video on pig. See you.